There is so much untapped potential of what's on the paint bridge. So there are numerous drops, at least 2 on the rail, several actually that's on the bottom. I could pick out painted detail, so there's a lot of discoveries to be made. They all look extremely old, original to the venue, such as this one. This type of painting, however, is really an artistic legacy that Trinidad has managed to provide amazing stewards up until this point, and through this point actually. The care at which the entire building and the stage area is being looked at and asking about, I am astounded about how wonderful the scenic art is. What a great example of early 20th century painting technique with dry pigment and hide glue distemper painting. The legacy that it leaves as far as how it places Trinidad within a local, regional, and national context and links it to areas across the country. This is such an exciting discovery that I cannot wait at. Oh, Michael, are you okay?
Sorry about that. You're looking for that chair. Let me make sure you get it.
I was looking for the phone.
Oh, there we go.
It's like, you can't break before we leave.
Yeah, we're pre-renovation, if ever, around here. Stephanie, would you, I'm going to ask you to start that sentence again because it was a good one.
I don't know what
And
I was
here.
saying, so you're gonna have to tell me what I was saying.
Thank you.
Was it legacy?
Legacy and preservation of, and you were somewhere around there, I'm sorry.
Give me a second. The legacy and the preservation of the Fox West Theater in Trinidad helps place it within a local, a national, and a worldwide perspective. It links this community with counties and communities across the entire United States and into Europe. This is a painted legacy that is rapidly disappearing. It's irreplaceable scenic art. It's very different than contemporary stage backings. It's a different paint, it's a different application method, how they were created, the artisans that created them. The individuals who painted these backdrops began when they were 16 years old, were apprenticed, lived through this entire system, painted 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for decades of their career. Their expertise is unmatched with any scenic artist that we have right now because this was their legacy, and it's really, it's our job and it's the city of Trinidad's job to be the best stewards they can moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Do you think
Oh,
that...
I'm so
No, it's all good.
I'm
done. What you saw on the paint reel, do you think those are Kansas City scenic?
Absolutely. So Kansas City Scenic was very linked into this region. This was their area. Colorado was very much their area. There are a few other scenic studios that are represented. Twin Cities Scenic Company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Eugene Cox out of, and this is Wyoming and South Dakota, but Eugene Cox Studios out of Chicago. Sossman and Landis out of Chicago. But Kansas City Scenic was this heartland group of amazing artisans that received training at the Chicago Institute of Art, that received recognition through the Palette and Chisel Club and the Selma Gundy Club of New York and the Laguna Beach Art Association in California. These were fine artists who got to make their paintings come alive when they were able to do it on stage, because unlike any large artwork that is hung on a gallery wall, these are intended to interact with lights, and it's almost as if there's a soul in the painting that is able to help it transition for audiences. So when this scenery was delivered, those who produced it were as celebrated as the artists that performed on stage, because this is part of a living installation that made people gasp with excitement when they came, that supported legions of performers and different people who graced the stage. So I really hope that we're able to preserve all of the history, that it remains a legacy for future generations in Trinidad.
Was our paint rail used for painting?
Yes. So almost every theater managed to have a paint bridge that went across. And the entire idea of a paint bridge is that artists would be able to be up and out of the way. The canvases or wings, which are framed flats, could easily go up and down. So an artist didn't crawl up and down to actually paint the scene. The scene was raised and lowered through a series of windlasses or pulleys or whatever system they were using to raise and lower the scenery. Scenic studios mimicked the actual stage. So you'd have a series of scenic artists up on the paint rail. There could be a rehearsal or a performance going on below. They were limited from a building standpoint of you couldn't really assemble a flat or do construction during a performance because you could hear that, but you could certainly paint. And that didn't allow any problems or issues unless, let's say, maybe a fight broke out and paint spills to the floor, or someone does a quick crossing from stage right to stage left and kicks over a bucket of paint. I mean, there are all of these humorous stories about how people really got showered with dry pigment and color mid-performance. So it is an amazing legacy to have that paint bridge. They are taken out so many times erroneously without really thinking of the heritage of who crossed that stage, and that they're still functional. You could have a painting studio here. You could paint scenery here. You could provide an experience that you can barely find anywhere with being able to recreate scenery for the stage. It's an amazing artifact to still have in that stage.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anything else, or am I good?
Any other good question? Gregory, please.
Yeah, Wendy, now that you've seen the stage, what is the most surprising thing to you that you've seen?
The paint bridge.
The paint bridge.
It's very controversial because we talk about who is painting scenery. Were they a bunch of white guys? Were they women? Were they people of color? Who was creating the scenes? There's a legacy that's written down that would suggest there were numerous men painting scenery. And yet by 1898, Great Wisher out of the Pacific Northwest started painting scenery. And various records show her in her dress and smock over it, painting scenery on a paint bridge. So it's the idea, the excitement for me, because I have never crossed a paint bridge before. I've never really been able to experience that. And to be up there, to have the challenge of, because there weren't elevators, there weren't steps or anything, to climb up the ladder in full Victorian dress, to paint and mix your paint, because this is an arduous process. It's not crack open a can of paint and scoop a little out, thin it to your consistency and apply it. This is grind up the color, turn it into a paste. It has to be just so. Heat up your glue granules, make it into a honey syrup, dilute it just so that it's that perfect consistency, which is still the same test of you dip your fingers in and when you hear that perfect snap, it's ready to go. There are all of these things that come bubbling up, and we, as a theater industry, we forget sometimes those who come before us. We celebrate the legacies of a few, but it's all of their predecessors who helped build those legacies, and those are the unforgotten people, the ones who don't make history books, the ones who aren't remembered. So the stage at Trinidad right now is preserving that history. Yes, there's dirt and there's a lot of stuff that has to be dealt with, but it is a time capsule, and it is something worth saving. And it is a resource for not only your average citizen, but for academicians and historians and artists and you name it. This goes beyond entertaining future audiences. It's a historical resource.
So, as perhaps the most eminent stage historian in North America, for me to hear that this is the first time you've ever crossed a paint bridge is phenomenal.
Well, thank you for the compliment. I wouldn't consider me the most eminent, but it really is. There are those moments when you can literally weep. And because so many have been taken down for whatever reason is being given to justify the removal, it is incredibly important to the history to understand that generations of American audience, generations of worldwide audiences, that's where the artistic paintings were produced. That's the gallery that both displays, and it's the studio where the manufacture of the painting occurs. So it's all encompassed in one space. It began here and it ended here.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you see the potential for accommodating modern performances along with preserving this amazing stage machinery history?
You can blend the old and the new flawlessly, but you have to be aware of not destroying what's here. So it's a combination of feasibility studies, where it fits within North American theater, where it fits within Colorado legacy. So yes, with historic scenery, you can stage performances. Can you stage touring shows? That's a question. Do you want to? Do you want to take a risk of live performance damaging your heritage? How do you preserve what's here while embracing the new? And I really think there is a way that you can integrate both, that you can make it work for both contemporary performance, musical performances, lectures, and in a sense also create a heritage site that allows this to be able to be a living history museum that educates as well as entertains.
Perfect.
Anything else?
You are full of good sound bites.
It's those.
It is rolling off your tongue in ways that I don't know if I could have written. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, my
Not a
goodness.
problem.
It doesn't have to be so formal. In fact, why don't you just stand there? I'll get a different shot, and the theater will be behind you.
Well, don't expect that kind of gold out of me.
No. How about
Wendy's the bat, I'll tell you what.
just the classic higher ed question? What strikes you about the Fox West Theater? What strikes you? What hits you?
Well, every community has, there's certain impassioned individuals interested in preserving their theater, but from the first time I heard about Trinidad, it must be 5 years ago at the Saving Places conference, fascinated by the interesting dynamics that allowed so much historic fabric to remain in a pretty small community, and the attention that it's getting, and the attention to preservation as science, really. Very calculated direction, a lot of care being given to make sure that history isn't lost. And for example, to find out that I just crossed a paint bridge, and it was Wendy's first paint bridge, left me in awe, because I don't even understand the rarity of that. It's a very special place. It's some amazing fixtures and features still in place. Even through renovation, that which should have been saved has, for the most part, magically been saved. So it's a really rare treat, and I look forward to seeing how all this turns out.
Thank you. Anybody else want the hot seat since we're here on the stage? Otherwise, you gotta see what's below. Yeah. There we are. Wendy, you didn't know. I positioned this right on top of the trapdoor.
Oh, that's so cool.
So we gotta go down and see where that goes. Who went in the projection booth? Did anyone go in the projection booth? Yeah, when I entered the auditorium earlier with the camera, the door to the projection booth was closed.
Oh, so who's your ghost?
Well, here you go.
I was gonna say.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool?
Wow. Could it have been like pressure at all?
That's a metal box they put in 1929, so.
Always a disbeliever.
Gregory, I'm gonna go set this up down there. You're gonna lead folks down this back staircase, if you would.
As for the GoPro, do you want me to just hold on to it, or should I put it
Yeah,
back?
actually, would you just walk around with it on?
It beeps, so I don't know if it's dead now.
Oh, maybe.
So I
Let's see. Power button. Yeah. Oh, it's 27%. Oh, the SD is full. That's what it's saying. Okay.
So we can't do it then?
Right. I don't have another SD card on me.
Full of good stuff.
But I'll tell you what, Taylor, if you wanted to run your cell phone video camera,
Yep.
that's not a waste of time. And you will, folks, want lights, flashlights or whatever as you come down those stairs. Oh, shit. What was that?
There's not. There's this. And then, oh yeah, there is. You're good. Oh my God! Do you want me to go back?
No, it's fine. I just lost the light to my camera light, which was really giving us a lot of good light. So, as soon as I can deal with that.
Oh, there's a cell basement there. There's another basement below us.
This is really wonderful. Oh, it's dark.
Yeah, somebody's got a flashlight handy, just wants to shine over here just for a second. I need to reposition my camera light battery.
There you go.
Just
there's another
up
drop.
in here so I can see what I'm doing.
Oh, sorry. You mean
All good.
versus that here?
All good. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yes. Okay. Well, I've been recording the whole time anyway, so that's cool. We are substage, and there are 2 flights of dressing rooms, and there are original concession counters, and the trap door, at least one of them, is where those metal brackets are hanging. And Gregory will show those that want to know where the other trap door is. Remember, were you here when we found that?
No,
Oh, you're new to it too. It's back here.
I see. I see right there.
I'm trying to remember who it
Oh,
was
how
that was
cool.
down here, and said, "Oh no, you have 2 traps in
That is
Fox
so
West."
cool.
With the pinned handles.
I'm surprised, actually, there are not 3. Because
Well-
when I've been listing things, it's usually like 3 or 4. I don't come across 2 very often.
That just means we haven't found the 3rd one.
Right. Michael, am
Yes.
I wrong on that? Have you noticed that there are usually 3 because it would be like a center stage, upstage, and then some stage right or stage left thing?
You are absolutely correct.
So 3 trap doors would be standard, and we
3
just
or
have.
4.
Well,
yeah.
let's say it would be not out of the norm. It's hard to say there was a standard because every theater was completely different.
Sure.
Even
When-
if they were built by the same man in that period of time. Depends on money, depends on,
Always depends on how much money do you want to
Yeah.
spend. Well, it's going to be 2.5 times that.
and sometimes it depends on where was the groundwater? Were there any huge granite blocks directly below the surface underneath the theater? Things like that.
Right.
We can move that granite block, but it'll cost you another $50,000.
There's much damage to actually the word is called. So we sister that with C-section steel to strengthen it. And there's dressing rooms.
Hey, Gregory, would you explain the swamp cooler installation and just to disseminate that from the rest of the space so everybody knows what we're looking at?
Yeah, most of the stuff below us is what's called a swamp cooler. It's kind of a large wheel that turns through a shallow pool of water that's in a metal pan, and air is forced through that, and it would have been pushed into the auditorium, into the theater. At some time in the past, we think that that operated out of control in combination with some water, and this column right here was actually severely warped out of plumb. And you can see how our very first intervention is to sister both sides of the column with steel C-sections bolted through to strengthen this support, which is one of the main supports for the stage above. And you can see evidence of settling.
Is this one of the evaporative wheels directly below us with the
Yes.
motor to turn it?
It is.
Yeah, evaporative cooling in the 20s was one of the main ways of doing large cooling. Your real goal was not to put moist air in the auditorium. Your goal was
One on the other side is covered with a little drop in there.
right.
So,
A little bit of card stock over there on the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
did you just find the other trapdoor?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the other, but there's another one.
And on the opposite side in this same area, there's a drop ceiling with cardstock on it, and it's probably above it. There's probably a fourth there. It has the same wooden pin handle.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Now I wonder why
Cool, huh?
I wonder why they built the stage level there and then sloped tightly up there.
You know, I've had people tell me that's a ballroom stage, and then I've had others tell me that that's not correct.
You wonder if they had some sinking on this piling because of the upgrade they've done to the side of it.
There is a gap there.
And the nails have pulled out. See the nails on the capital?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
and the gap where it's pulled loose.
Yeah.
I wonder if
A
you
little
get
hard to say.
getting building settling possibly.
Now, Gregory can describe, but this little portal right here leads to the orchestra pit.
Right. That'd be
Why would the door be that size? You couldn't really ask your orchestra to climb through something that's
Well,
that
yes, you
small.
could. Yes, you
Well, you
could,
wonder.
and they still do something like that.
Oh, yeah, they're not, they didn't make a lot of room.
Because if you make the door much higher,
Only because you said there
Yeah.
has to be another one.
you can make the stage weak right there.
On search.
And if you make the steps any lower, you have to dig the pit deeper.
It's an extremely sturdy support system.
Yeah, that's
Got
what
the doors over here in this room to
Right.
the side.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Well, get 30 or 40 dancers up
fire. Do you think that was a fire door?
I'm guessing so.
That'd be a pretty early example of a fire door, wouldn't it, Gregory?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think he's substage right now.
Oh, he's-
Very few go down this ladder, but I would recommend it. I would recommend it. I love how. Oh yeah. There's some doors and some really cool old, just posters and promotional stuff that's stuck on the walls. So many surfaces here are worn down by hands in ways
Oh,
that
yeah, softened and
only
yeah,
a
polished.
hand can do. You know.
Right, yeah, that's really it's amazing when you have the original finish, even if it's no finish,
I would,
you know, it's just the patina.
I would
Yep.
give dollars to donuts that this post is lower than that one or that one.
Well, it is. It's settled.
Yeah.
Taylor and I were just discussing, I think we have photographs that show that those nails were still in the corner. So I think that there's some additional settlement that's occurred.
Yeah.
Since the steel beams, Gregory?
Yes.
That's a matter of months.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I felt it when I walked on the stage. Because usually, if a stage is raked, it's raked from front low to back high, rather than
Then-
what this does. Up there, you'll notice it slopes a little bit from the footlights backwards.
Yeah, and you're saying that that is not proper construction and not the way stage was
Well,
sloped.
the construction may be proper, but the ground under it is settled, period.
Gotcha.
That happens, look at Florida, that happens. For a number of reasons.
Yep.
the East Primrose's mammoth minstrel.
Yes, that's great.
I told you.
In the Denver Post. Oh, there's a little piece of ticket too. A little piece of ticket. Looks like 25 cents for the West Theater, right here. Sweet. I wonder if this is the see what they're talking about. There's a photograph of these group of women. I wonder if that's Mammoth Minstrels. I don't know.
Oh, does it say Mammoth Minstrels?
It does.
I know that group.
The Primrose is,
Better take a photo.
the Primrose is Mammoth Minstrels. I'll get you a picture.
Yeah, please do. No, Wendy's definitely like, she was going down.
I'm like, why aren't you right here?
Until you said I'll take a picture, that's like, okay, I've done that. There's a hole in the floor down there back toward this far wall, so just be aware.
Yep.
Don't die.
There's a hole in the floor, and then there's also the bays for the original steam boilers
Yeah,
in the substage. Substage, subfloor.
and great big wooden wheel fans to push that warm air through the building.
Does somebody have a light they could cast over for me?
There
Thank
you
you. Like right in here? Yeah, right there. That's the one. Thank you.
Yep.
I thought Fleisch might wash that out pretty bad.
So Gregory is right. Y'all do want to see the ballroom, but before that, I don't want you to leave the stage area without seeing the prop room and even the green rooms. These dressing rooms are down here, and you might think these are as many as there are, but built onto the side of the building is an annex. The original prop room, the original boiler room, but also 2 flights of green rooms, literally painted green. So those are actually through the door underneath of the light panel on stage. It's a green door, so we're gonna head there next, and then to the ballroom.
We're going back up the same stairs to the stage.
Yep, actually you can go up either set of stairs.
What was that, Chris? Sorry.
Oh, I said you can go up either set of stairs. Gregory's going up one side.
Oh, I'll go up.
On this door,
Yep.
it says a MAME actor was married here.
No kidding.
Right here, written in pencil.
Oh.
So we don't know how the book's going.
So keep door. This is something about keeping the door.
Pretty soon, I just want to make sure.
Tacos are fine, they strict vegetarian. Okay.
But I would.
I'll catch up.
Like for me, pescatarian? Okay, so just vegetarian, great. Just this pork and beef and this. How about that?
You should be able to see steam pipes through that hole in the floor there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Oh, here's the, wow.
Is that a poster?
Here's one of the original light fixtures down here laying on a non-post-historic demising wall.
No kidding.
Yeah, it matches the one on the wall in this dressing room.
You know, can you believe that space that I haven't cleaned out yet?
Looks pretty clean, really. Oh, there's some really old fixtures down here on this wall.
Yes.
The little candelabra pieces that come out from those are nice. I wish I could get in there. That ductwork's in my way, or I'd be over there already.
Yeah, this ductwork, this swamp cooler was late 1950s, and they just cut through to make it happen.
Well, you know, those fixtures back there, they're safe.
Nice.
So that's good.
I guess you could say that a lot about the Fox West Theater, is that it's not the best conditions, but it's sitting here not...
Actually, it's in really good condition. Really a lot of original finishes. Look at this, where's that at? Right here, this little piece of covering on this shelf.
Yeah.
Can you see this? This fabric with the cut fringe, this piece of early vinyl coated cloth or oil paint coated cloth.
Nice.
And those brads are old school. Those are original. They put some extra nails in there at some point, but
I got something. Did you go down these stairs yet?
I haven't. But I think this is really a fine quality door for a tertiary area.
I know. I love this staircase and that door. And of course, down here you had more dressing rooms.
Actors and actresses' names written on things.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to show you. Is this dressing room has some names above the hooks. Okay. And there's that one. And now there's my name, Smith.
Nice.
I didn't put it there. This is the one that, if you look that up on the internet, it will look just like William Claude Field's WC.
Oh, wow. Blair. Not Blair from CPI. No.
That's right.
Blair? You're not supposed to be writing your name on these things. Not now. Look at that. It's a great little feature. Wow.
Yeah. Just so you have the sense. Now, and I meant to bring Gregory down here to make this suggestion, but I had somebody offer the idea that you had the staircase and the set of dressing rooms on that side, and you had what you had over there, and that this connector above our heads, that's the swamp cooler stuff from the 50s, but this connector above our heads was put in after the fact. Perhaps because these beams are not at all pocketed into the brick.
Right. Well, yeah, they're resting on this floor, on the beams, the floor joists under us.
Right.
But the fact that these were added under them, these are still old.
Right.
Circular cut.
I mean, it could have been within months. They realized they needed more. They needed a way to get from one side of the basement, one side of the dressing rooms down here to another.
Yeah, and the drawings may reflect that, but sometimes those, I don't know about like larger details like that,
Yep.
but a lot of detail is left out of plans from that time period.
Right.
Sometimes the decorated areas were a suggestion.
Yeah.
And then they were dealing with, production companies were working casting plaster, perforating molds as a package.
Where'd everybody go? We gotta.
That's what I say in these buildings all the time.
Hey, would you do me a favor and that door will open? It's just got that.
You'd like me to open it?
Please. Yep, it's that one. I couldn't do it with the camera in tow. It'll push out. Hey, there's natural light pouring into the prop room, which actually has a collection of vintage posters worth seeing on the wall.
Okay, that sounds great.
Oh yeah, step all the way in because they're on the back side of this door too.
I'm looking at this signature that somebody's written on this. It's like a circus show.
Yeah.
And somebody's written on that poster that's over it in pencil at the bottom.
I told Wendy that my favorite part of every theater is the posters and when the artists write on the wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
We just found a few of those, but
Oh, yes.
Once we're all in, we're going to swing that door closed because
Yeah,
you've got to
that's
see the
not a
back
problem.
side of it.
Wendy.
Because he's going to be in charge of that.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Ooh,
I
what's
wanted
that
you
in
to look
there?
at me for a picture.
Oh, sorry, I'm like, what? Oh, wow.
Right?
Oh, Cells Floto. That's like a really cool circus. They have a whole bunch of, where is Chris?
Right here.
Oh, that is like,
He's the one that brought.
That's
brought
okay.
me in
I
it.
was interested in what you were saying, Wendy.
the Cells Floto, I'm like, oh man, they were so neat. Because I have been looking, oh, that's even better. You can,
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Stephanie is on the phone, but she'll come in.
Oh, okay.
I think she knows where we are.
oh, it's so sad that there are little modern things on it. Oh, this is really quite something.
It's a really
Okay,
nice
so
collection right
that, the thing on the top that says 16,
there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Another
it's
big
that
show.
kind of stuff that they're using as patches on the Tabor scenery.
Yeah.
All those
Oh,
little posters.
really?
Cool.
Yeah, but except they're white, and I haven't been able to find one that's, like that. Oh, these are really beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna sneak over.
The rosary.
I'm gonna go. So this is I've been calling it the Green Room Annex, just to identify the building. Because as I understand, this is the exterior wall, and that we are outside of the main building. Beneath us is a boiler room. That was the prop room door there. And behind me, where this paneling would be, is the set of green rooms. I'll take you down in there too.
And why is there an old brace and bit down here?
There are so many interesting relics in this theater.
Yeah,
It is a very good question. How would you use that? I don't think you could.
drilling, yeah, I can use one, I have used one, but not
In-
recently.
In theater,
Yeah, in theater.
yeah?
Before they had these things called Makitas and the battery powered tools.
Okay, okay.
It takes a long time to drill a hole that way, but
It can be done.
it can be done.
Back when they had the brace and bit and the Yankee driver, the first powered screwdriver.
I still have my Yankee.
I have a couple. I can't help myself. Tools, old tools.
Oh, you,
They have a bunch of holes in those wood boxes where light bulbs come through. Would they have made those?
I don't know.
possibly.
Looks like about good.
I do think that light bulb and probably that fixture is original.
Bringing
Oh,
up father.
absolutely. Right. It's pretty beautiful.
That is not
Okay,
even
we'll
old.
go down. That is just so.
Is there,
So do you see the signature on the
Looking for a
poster?
patent
That's
on
what
that.
you had
Uh-huh.
asked, what struck Greg, like
The
what
that
really
one?
struck
Have you
you.
found the
And,
signature?
and that was what struck me is that in theaters today, they try to
That
hide the
one,
lighting.
man,
And you
I
walk
would
in there
figure out
and
how
you
to
see
stabilize these
the
before
lighting
anything
with
else.
the light bulbs to draw attention to the fact that there was electricity in the theater.
Right.
Yeah.
It's,
You need to get
that's
them-
incredible. And of course, I was surprised that he didn't say the plaster ornamentation
Stuck back to
because
protect them.
Yeah.
being a plaster by
Right,
trade,
right.
I'm really surprised
fun
that
little
he didn't say
weekend
the
truck
plaster
express, ladies.
ornamentation.
I was
It's
gonna say,
amazing.
no, can he
Maybe we can have
The,
another
uh,
and say maybe I should tell him.
The general contractor's name is carved in the stone at the foot of that door.
Oh, yeah, I wondered about that. I wondered what that
What
was.
kind of the menu
Yes.
you can do?
On my blog,
well,
I've
that's-
covered
yeah.
a lot of these shows.
It's definitely
Where I've done the
50s or
entire-
more.
I'm sorry, one
It's
sec. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
General Electric on it.
Oh, it's a GE?
It's a GE book.
Nice. Go ahead, Wendy, thank you.
Oh, no, but a lot of the various shows like the Rosary and stuff, because I've been tracking the scenic artists that actually created the scenery for it. So the history of a lot of those shows I've compiled. And that's why my blog is like a database for historic theater. So, especially like the Rosary, and then you have a program here to go with the poster
Yeah.
is really fantastic. I mean, and yeah, it's like the Girl of Moms.
Is that a show you've heard of before?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
all of these.
Yes.
I mean, there's not a big surprise of like I haven't heard of it because it's so hard to find much more than like in the Broadway database, you can find all the designers and stuff, but you don't always find something like this. So before anything happens to this, what I would do is really good digitization of what you have so it's not going to be lost or anything else. And then figure out how to just at least do a temporary something, so it's not gonna,
Yeah,
I
let's,
mean, this is not my
Lexan or
specialty
something.
for restoring at all.
Sure.
But I would take great pains, and you probably know how to do this, Greg. I would take great pains as don't have it deteriorate any more than it is, because it's like the importance of a ghost sign. I would not let it get any worse.
Well, it's likely on there with wheat paste, so they could be removed and conserved,
Hmm.
and then you could put up you could archive the original, put up a digital copy. I don't know, every project has a budget, and you gotta pick your battles, but at least at a minimum, temporary emergency stabilization, so we don't suffer any more losses while that thought process goes on to decide what to do with them, how much to invest
Alright,
in.
okay, so that could be one of your menu things, because we can get from History Colorado an emergency, what they call a mini grant, that might help fund your, like for $15,000, it's an administrator, they say, wow, that sounds like we need to do it, here you go.
Every time I'm in here, I see something new. Every single time I'm in here, I see something new. Today, It's this rope. What am I looking at?
So the doors don't blow open?
I know.
Just a guess. I mean,
Of all the theater technology in the world, what is going on with the rope across the top of the prop room door?
I don't know. Michael thought?
Trying to get a better.
Because it's tacked to the
Come on.
top.
You know, it's actually, this thing is sitting in the box, and this rope is going above the box.
This leads directly outside.
It does.
Well, that's
and
just the
you're
lock,
up off
though.
the ground maybe 10 feet.
Right, I thought that was that door.
Yep.
Does it go through the wall at any point?
No, it's just tacked up there.
Oh, and that's, I don't know, there's absolutely no reason I know of it. If it went through the wall, it could go to a post and beam outside that went to a block of wall
Right.
to lift stuff up off the truck.
Right. Or the railroad spur. When you're on the exterior,
Yeah.
take note, the train is so close, the tracks are probably well buried, but chances are the railroad spur is part of the development.
They used to load railroad cars from the roof of the adjacent car. House I worked on in Indianapolis, the loading door was about 2 feet wide
Ooh.
and 20 feet off the ground.
Oh.
And the railroad tracks ran right next to the building, literally. And that was the old Amphitheater Theater,
Yeah.
original home for the,
Wendy, here's another
Indianapolis rep.
signature. Right
This
down
was,
here.
Oh, yeah. I
do
mean,
you know if they had was there a coal furnace in here at some point?
There was a coal furnace, and then there was steam. The city sold steam out of their steam plant. That was the original
Good, right.
heating convention. Coal, I think, went substage, maybe to heat underneath the stage for the performers, because the back walls of the brick back here are super stained, as are the walls in the ballroom. You're leaning on the last iteration of heat before. For the last 20 years, you buy a ticket to the movie, they bring a space heater and put it next to it.
Oh, there's another one.
That's one way to do it. Don't go
It's
poking
better than
eyes
a
out
warm
there,
rock.
Gregory. Are you the one doing that?
No, there's a signature here.
there's
There's
signature.
a signature here. Some of these are signed.
Nice.
that's a fairly common thing among theater people, that you would sign the posters
Hmm.
and
So,
leave your own posters behind.
so your picture of this, that's what you make your little souvenir mouse pads out of and little
Oh,
coffee cup things.
yes,
So
sure.
I'm just, because this is so beautiful
Yeah.
with, as far as the texture.
Now, I'm gonna take you to the other side of this wall next.
Okay.
And I'm gonna lead you to a staircase, and it's like my super favorite part of the theater, where you are looking into the green room dressing room, so you're a star, and there's a whole other bank of posters there in this kind of stairwell situation.
Oh, wow.
The space and let's not ask the floor to hold more than 3 or 4 of us in there at a time.
Okay.
So I'll take 3 in, and then come retrieve the rest of you. But first 3, join me this way.
Okay, I'm going.
Tacos ordered.
Ordered.
Nice.
I'll get them at 1.
Awesome. Why don't, yeah, I think that sounds great.
Yeah.
Green room.
Okay.
Wait, but we shan't do it without at least a full tour.
Oh, yeah.
That's preservation kick right there. Come in here for the main star dressing room. That is, I've always made the assumption that that is what we're in.
Nobody's here yet.
Oh,
Save it.
okay.
Save it. I heard ya.
Oh, I thought, yeah, I'm just gonna talk and people are with me.
Okay, ready, Michael? We're going in. We're in the first part of the tour. This is the main dressing room. Okay, we're here.
So step in. I've always made the assumption that this is the main star dressing room, given that it's directly off the stage and is so much larger than what was beneath the stage,
I think that is a great assumption.
which makes this home to John Philip Sousa at least 3 times.
Oh, wow.
He's the only name we've found so far. But hey, there's a pulley.
Old
And
loft block.
That's a loft block?
Yep.
Nice. I'm glad I named it right.
Oh,
No, you're.
when you're talking about trying to find live performance,
Yes.
all you have to do is look at the other Silver Circuit shows because it almost always lists Trinidad. That's why I've been coming across it.
Oh.
So like the Leadville Herald
Yeah.
will say, this is the show going to Salt Lake City, Trinidad, Pueblo, and I'd check the other ones just for the
Silver
tourist
Circuit.
shows and look under.
Shell.
Or not Silver Circuit, whatever circuits connected all
Yep,
of them after that fact. Oh, this is really cool.
Isn't this room neat? I've scoured it for signatures. I've yet to find one, but that doesn't mean there isn't.
Oh, I bet they were painted out.
What, right?
I bet a lot were painted
Quite
out.
a book. I love the signatures, that's, like I said, definitely my favorite part.
I'm going to de-extend my tripod. Yep, so next we're going to go down the staircase. Oh, go down the staircase, please. This is the space where,
Wendy,
What? Oh my God! Hey, check it out, Gregory.
what'd you find?
Don't throw this out. It's bulb coloring.
It's
Oh
what-
my God.
it's lamp dip.
Yeah. Or as it says, bulb coloring.
I've been looking at that for a while. I didn't realize
Oh,
it's kind
this
of
is
rare, huh?
so hard. Well, yeah, it's kind of dangerous, you know, but you can't buy any.
Not my area.
But I'm working with
More
a
names.
guy in Belgium who's testing lights, so I've been sending him over drops that I make for his little maquette.
Gate prize to whoever names this first.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, stage crew. Do I get it?
You got it.
I don't know. I want to take a picture.
What do you got there?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, hold on.
None of the experts.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
You can't. This is you really. I'm gonna put it right back. I'm sorry. But yeah, this is so neat. Okay, you want to put it back?
What would this little closet have been used for? Like, is
Storage.
Exactly
Just
what it's being
storage?
used for right now.
Yeah, which is why this is where all the cool stuff
so
is.
some stagehand? There's a picture on the inside of the door of this little space.
Yeah, there's a nudie, and there should be a bottle of booze somewhere too.
Yeah, there
Just.
should be.
It was stored in that closet.
That's
People
exactly.
step in and take a nap.
Oh my gosh. So.
Show him.
Oh, these are your 12 stage screws. That's what Michael was just going by the Shannon Corporation. He was one of the manufacturers of rigging components and concrete systems. Oh, and see, there's another. We really will go downstairs. This is just kind of our little treasure hunt.
This is the way you used to color those big Olivet lights that are standing on poles at the side of the
Okay, you can
stage.
put this back. So this is
Junk.
so cool. No, it's not
Yeah,
junk.
the box is
It's treasure.
by itself.
Look at
It's
this
just-
here. What's that?
You know how many times
What?
my husband and I
Oil
have
proof,
had that
wax.
conversation?
Look just like, I don't know what it would be for even.
Next. Leather belts. Okay, I need
Ah.
to touch nothing.
It's to lubricate leather belts.
Ooh.
So we're going to go down this set of stairs, and at the bottom you'll see a large power line. And that's the one to duck under, though I'm told it's off.
So don't lick your hand and touch it.
Don't lick your hand and touch it. But you know, the staircase railings are so well worn with hands.
Okay.
I just love showing those off. That's what really strikes me. There's two green rooms here.
Okay.
And then what I want you to see is where I'm standing right here, you're going to go here and look up with your, I'm going to get out of this space and you want to see this wall right here.
Oh.
Yep, here, I'll
So
give
does
it.
this have like a dumbwaiter or
Let me get in
something?
front of I don't know exactly what this space was for.
You know, I don't know. I'd love to look at blueprints of the building just for the heck of it because.
Here, I'm going to
Oh,
get on
wait.
this landing. So on the other side of this door, behind your, like to your back, that's the prop room.
Okay.
Why is there no set of stairs here? Why are you like
Because you
at
could
the level you are?
possibly funnel scenery from the prop room to the stage at an angle. Like if you had a big drop or something.
Okay.
Well, just a guess, because I also don't know
Oh.
the angle. But sometimes to get stuff in and out, that might be helpful.
They needed that much more. You see there's posters on the left and right walls in here.
This is sick. Wow. Again, something to be really preserved and documented very well. just before lots of stuff starts happening.
Yep, yep,
Okay, I'm all set.
yep.
Next one?
Actually, I'll look at your picture.
Oh, no, you gotta go see them.
Yeah, it's worth your seeing. And
Okay.
to take a peek at these dressing rooms that actually have
Oh, yeah.
restrooms in them.
All right, and
Okay.
really nice restrooms.
So openings of theaters, that was like a tag-all of when they first started introducing restrooms. It's like, we've got the best bathroom in it. So that was a feature to attract touring shows and
Okay.
stars.
To have the restrooms.
Yeah. Because where else are you going?
Right,
I mean,
right. Can we reasonably claim, well, it's anybody that played the Tabor, it is likely they played here.
yeah, it's gonna be the Denver Grand Tabor, Wheeler, Pueblo, whatever that one is, Colorado Springs, Salt Lake City Theater, and this one, because that's all part of that.
Okay.
So, and it will be listed at the bottom of a lot of the ads.
Okay.
So that's what I just look for. So if you look at Emma Abbott, for example, when Emma Abbott was touring, the poster would come up with her show in the newspapers, and it would say, you know, produced by this person, here's the show, here's Emma Abbott or Emma Abbott starring in, scenery by, big blurb, and then on the bottom there could be as seen in. So if you've done a Trinidad search versus a West Theater, it's not going to say at West's Theater. It will say Trinidad, and you isolate your date,
Okay.
and then you start looking at other theaters, but pair it with a show and then Trinidad, because hopefully that ad's going to populate with the show and Trinidad as the thing. So
right.
that might be a way to
That's-
see.
Thank you. A whole different way to search. Absolutely.
Well,
That's
I've gotten a
wonderful.
little bit better of my criteria. It's like the 30 years of as the internet was starting to go up, and it's like using quotes. So you never type in Opera House. You have to do Opera House in quotes, so it doesn't create more
Opera and house, right?
than you need. Or like how you do the plus together with. It's just it's helpful. And today, I came across a whole bunch of new stuff because I've always been doing Kansas City Scenic Company, or just CO, so not with the dot though. And a couple of their ads erroneously listed Kansas City Scenic Artist Company. And I thought, well, you know what? I haven't tried that. And then I finally went down to just Kansas City Scenic Artist. And that populated stuff I've never seen. And often it was part of Kansas City Scenic Company, but there was also Kansas City Artists that flagged, not what had previously flagged. So yeah, that's
Wow.
like
That's really
nerdy
cool.
stuff that you really don't know how to do. But and one of the things I do is I teach people how to research theater history, because you don't know the comparisons or the different terminology, or if you open a worldwide search, or how you can refine it.
Right.
Not be overwhelmed.
That's
Okay,
right.
I'm going up.
Okay, you want to just give it a shout? Anybody else want to come down here? Otherwise, if nobody joins me, I'll go up.
I'll ask. Anyone else going down?
They said we are good. No one else is coming down, Chris.
Okay. Thank you, Green Room Annex.
No, because I've been up. I'm good.
Shift it slightly, do the wall, so that it made it look like it stood out from the wall. That first dark pass was the shadow, rather than the hand shadow.
I meant like way far away from I haven't read enough about that. I
Don't know, because typically the touring shows didn't have a problem if they were mixed. It would be the hosting
But I think this is
place that would have a problem, like the hotel or the restaurant or whatnot.
Right.
That,
I think that was maybe.
but do you have a, why I'm wondering about versus bringing in people, I don't know how they would get up to the balcony easily from this way.
It's a whole nother set of stairs. And there's no other way besides the front
Oh,
doors.
that does make sense, Chris. That absolutely, if there's a second stairway going up to the second balcony, that is the separate entrance.
Okay.
So you don't lose one.
Right, that is the staircase that took us from the lobby down here. You would end up in the lobby, and then you just keep going up the next set of stairs.
Right, so you don't go. And you know, there are a whole bunch of places that are figuring out how to deal with this history well. And instead of not saying anything, which is worse
Yep.
than actually saying something, it becomes a teachable lesson, because until you actually see that, no, the experience wasn't the same. Everyone was under the same roof, and they were seeing the same thing, so they were embracing that. But it was a very different experience. And to show how that experience was is a teachable moment of, and this is why segregation laws needed to go away. That it wasn't fair, and this is not how we expect society to work. So I mean, that's why it's a perfect example. And so instead of just, you know, kind of closing it off and not discussing that part of your history, that does connect you to the rest of the United States, and that does help you with educational programming, and that does help you with like Black History Month, so that it would be a way to help present and acknowledge things that should never have happened to begin with. It is a great teachable moment.
Yes.
So I want to see the little
Thank
bit
you,
that's on.
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Um,
And that's really controversial.
It is so controversial, and I think I mentioned I'm from the Philly suburbs, where I understand the importance of having the conversations we never have. Now here, they put in a press board inlay to this orchestra, to this dance band stand, to be able to muffle it, because behind it is curved pressed tin, which should make this about as loud as you can get. When they did that in 1933, they blocked off access to both musicians' break rooms. The one to our left has always been accessible. The one to our right was closed off until late last year, when that was the finale of our fall fanfare. But you want signatures, you got to see in there.
Yes.
Oh my.
I want to see, there's that rope
Yes.
molding it down.
Yeah, the same kind of rope molding is used throughout the building.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Do you have a Masonic temple in town?
We don't.
Okay, if you had Masons, they could have met here, and let me tell you why.
Ooh.
This becomes the east, where the master sits with his chairs.
Okay.
And you could have the altar in the center, and you could basically have the west and the north and the south, and you'd be able to have this function as a lodge room, whether it was for the Masons or the Knights of Pythias or the Odd Fellows, or Improved Order of Redmen, or you name it. There were all of the various fraternal groups that could have used this as a common space. Rooms like this were often above taverns or other retail spaces, but this would have allowed double duty, not just for banquets, but also for fraternities to meet. So, just as a thought.
I love that idea. Thank
That's
you.
my specialty, is Masonic Ritual.
Yeah, and so and it's laid out in a way that
Absolutely.
makes sense. Okay.
So what happens is you got the 3 chairs here.
Right.
You have your altar in the center
Right.
with the light that's above the altar.
Oh.
And then, you'd have your various, here, let me turn this off. But typically, you have the space here, and you could have seating on either side.
Okay.
So I cannot imagine that there was not a Masonic lodge in Trinidad. It would be very hard to fathom. Or the Elks.
There is Elks. Yep.
Elks could have met here too. I mean, because again, they had lodge rooms, and they were building theaters. And this whole area, especially with that little recessed alcove,
Yeah.
that makes it doable for that type of patterning.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
The floor that we're on is floating, and the newspaper says they dug a hole 40 feet below grade. Now, I believe they did, and if you look at the base of one of these columns, you can see how much brick they used. It is so neat. But I think underneath of this floor, it's a bit of a time capsule.
So if this was like a floating floor, this could have also been done for drills and marching, right? Because often in theaters, and it would be on top, if you'd have like a sprung floor or something, the various drills for like Knights of Columbus or Knights Templars or the various ones that did the marching and the parades, that was an option. And this would have been at that perfect time of the theater. Might have been constructed not just as a generic ballroom, but also that would accommodate a variety of different groups and welcome them in to the space.
You need to see the ancillary spaces at the top of the staircase
On the
Okay.
way out.
to understand this place best. Yeah?
Any research that this, based on what Wendy just said, and edit this out, that this might have been used by the KKK, which was.
Hold on, let me get,
I'm
would you say
sure.
that again, please? What? Huh?
Yeah.
Actually, we were having a good discussion, and Wendy does, it's reasonable to think that this entrance on the side, through what was labeled the pantry on the original plans, was used as an entrance to the theater auditorium for non-whites.
That's what I think.
So we all agree.
They
it
came,
does
we
make
do,
sense.
they came through there, the
Yeah.
first time I came through here, someone asked that where's this, well, what is that for? I said, well, that's what I think it is.
Yeah,
And they went all the way up.
yeah, because you go up without.
You could come in, but we don't want to see you.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Wendy.
And you're on the second balcony, so.
Wait till you see all the accordion
Okay.
player signatures in here.
Is there any significance to maybe having parties that had alcohol? I keep thinking about the timeline and prohibition.
Trinidad was known
and-
for prohibition and known for the moving of booze. So,
So you could have a party down here that
Yes.
maybe other people didn't know about
That
and
is very
bring
true.
things in.
yep.
Here's an excellent start to your restoration budget.
You want to
It's gonna be
know?
like a $500,000 worth.
Cool. Go ahead.
Well, I'm getting a picture for, we have a friend who's, there's a fourth generation theater seating company in England.
Nice.
And I was gonna send a picture and ask them to authenticate the time period for this. I don't know what you know about these or
I've always been told that the first two rows of the first balcony are still original seating,
oh, okay.
and that these look just like those seats in the first two rows.
Okay.
And I always define it by the wooden handles. The wooden handled seating is probably original to the building. What's on the main auditorium floors, 40s, 50s, and that these row ends would be almost custom, right?
Yeah, well, they could be.
They could be.
They could be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, when we were in England, in the theater seating company's workroom, it looks like all of them are pretty custom. Would you agree, Greg, that they cast those end pieces? They still do that.
Well, yeah, sometimes particular theaters would always use the same entries.
This was stuck in a room back here next to some radiators, but
Oh, it's just so cool.
and you know what you're really gonna love?
Not really.
Right, give me a hand. You've got to pull it out, slide it out, just so you can see. Here it is. Shipped from Denver
Oh, see?
via train for the Fox Corporation. And what really strikes me is how unregistered these trademark characters are, like Pluto and Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. And the theater changes. It's just sentence.
I was gonna say, it does remind you of like Elmo in Times Square. That's not really Elmo, but it's kind of close.
That's right.
It's like, this is kind of close.
Well, look here, it says on the back, caution, keep dry.
Oh, because of the Friesen
It's gold. And you see a little gold cluster through this two-color campaign a little later.
Is it two colors worth of paint, or just one?
Well, this is, I think, a secondary campaign. I think this is original.
Yeah, because the other one
Finish.
matches auditorium,
You
right?
can see a little
whatever.
gold here.
Underneath there.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I can see
Oh, that is so cool.
my mask. I got my glasses pretty fogged up now. But
That's
yeah, and the original finish was stained wood on top, and then this paint mask.
Do any of these seats have anything that resembles the original cushions? There's been all kinds of mods to them, and
Well, you got quite a few layers built up here. This brown paint piece.
We know the people to ask.
We do.
I was gonna say.
We have some dear friends, I was just saying, in England, who is a fourth generation historical seating company.
Kerwin and Simpson is the guys who I would, man.
Can you get a photo of this and send it to
I
them?
did.
You get it, because I did the stuff
I
at the
haven't sent it
Tabor,
yet.
so you send it to them for this one. Seriously, what's so impressive about them is, because this is just like in their DNA, they like trying to figure out how to make the seats comfortable and adjustable and widen based on the same pattern, and I mean,
So
they
we've talked
understand
about that.
this.
The City Council talked about that. A couple
let
of.
me get to this again.
Oh, okay. So in this theater,
He wanted to talk about the marquee. All they could talk about was we need to be able to fit in the seats.
yeah,
But you know, they could take the original seats, slightly widen them, and
that's
make that happen.
exactly right.
And put that insert that they presented.
You want me to say something about
Because
that?
they've done lumbar support.
We can do that later.
Yes.
I know, that's the first thing of like, none of us can fit in the seats and they're uncomfortable, so we don't want to go to a show. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. We'll adjust the architecture to your body type.
Right.
I mean, God.
We also
So-
talked about the clearance between the seat and the back doesn't meet code, so we'll most likely have to remove a couple of rows of seats in order to spread those out to meet code.
I really, Gregory, I would talk to these two brothers because they really, this is their specialty. It's not the, let's put in a whole bunch of, I mean, they do that, but because they really understand what can be structurally done to a historic chair to accommodate the current
We're not
requirements.
talking about tearing them out, throwing them away and bringing in,
No.
big gulp cup holder armchairs. We're talking about strategically removing larger than we were. That doesn't meet current code.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we'll just probably end up taking it. Taylor's already done a study.
And they did a presentation about that at League of Historic Theaters, and they talked about that, and they also talked about adding an insert to the present
Which
seat
year was that?
so that people
Philadelphia.
sit more comfortably.
Ian.
And Ian, right, Ian was there with,
With
the two brothers.
Alistair and Andrew Simpson.
uh-huh,
And so, but they think outside of the box and how to adapt what you have versus just tossing it out and doing something new.
right.
So that's why and I'll do, like, Greg can do email introduction, just say hi for me.
I will.
That would be great. We'd love to connect with
Yeah.
them.
Oh, they're
You know,
lovely too.
If we don't
What a
have enough of
blast.
these, we can make castings.
Right.
Well, no.
Uh-huh.
They
And they do that.
all of
That's-
that.
yeah.
I sometimes have to adjust them for the way that the floor rigs get changed from time to time. I've heard talk of,
Yeah,
don't
it-
change
it'll
out the
be
arm,
alright.
put a beverage holder on the back of the seat ahead.
Oh,
to
sure,
a
yeah.
discreet.
Although I have to tell you, those really annoy me. When
Yeah.
you're trying to get to your seat and you're running into all those holders.
Yes.
Okay.
Function space.
Yeah.
So now what we have for Trinidad, we have a community resource.
Mhm.
So you could be having a conference. Wendy could have an historic conference here, the Kiwanis could have an historic conference.
Yeah.
You can have an event in the ballroom, which
have
could
a
be a craft
wedding.
show, wedding, trade show. We're
Nice.
trying to create as many multi-purpose venues as possible.
And this is such a good layout to be able to do that.
This is the
Remember, we have
hat
the two
check.
retail bays
Right.
up there, so we're generating income streams other than, well, how much alcohol can we sell?
Right.
Now, that's not a very stable income stream. We want actual sources of revenue.
Right, right.
Well, and
You're
also
thinking
some
like
cultural and some community enhancement things that may not bring us revenue, but it brings a lot of notoriety, and then donors want to write you checks when they're grand display.
Yeah.
Such as with some
Oh, these are so.
interpretive placard.
Oh,
Right? Aren't these amazing?
yeah,
They're all carbon arc. I'm told that there's at least one that was hand crank
you got this.
and has a motorized attachment on it.
Oh, you got, are those just wheels or is there film on the wheels?
There's no film.
Oh, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, there was some nitride film up under the projection booth, which I had moved.
That's great.
The other simplex base, that big beautiful base over there, it's hidden in the pantry. They just stashed stuff everywhere they could around here.
That is so cool.
Um,
That's really just, you know, okay, so here's the thing, which is why, if you would do a partnership with the Tabor, it's not a competing thing at all. It literally is like the spectrum of what was delivered to Colorado.
Nice.
So, you know, they've got 1879 to 1902. You have 1908, you know, 1907 to 1909, basically. And then the updates. But as far as the building, you suddenly have, you see these two theaters, you've seen almost all that was delivered to Colorado. And that would be phenomenal. It's a great symbiotic partnership.
Thank you.
Because I mean, you increase tourism, you're able to get the more movie aspect, whereas the Tabor was never intended to be a cinema. I mean, not to say that movies weren't shown there, but it's a different aesthetic, but it's this beautiful flow that's just 4 hours apart.
Nice.
And it's a perfect day trip.
Nice.
So cool.
Coca-Cola syrup bottles.
Oh, would you please take a souvenir bottle out of here?
I don't think they're gonna let me fly with that, but I will take one on another trip.
You pick one out right now, I'll save it for you.
Well, gosh,
Souvenir.
I'll tell you. Anyone to Coca-Cola?
Did you see whose autographs are on this board? I don't think they're real autographs, but I do think an aspiring theater employee loved those people so
Buster
much.
Keaton and Charlie Chaplin.
Isn't that cute? Isn't it cute how I board up this room too?
Yeah, that's
I don't want
exactly right.
anybody back there. There's something new and weird though, Gregory. Let me just let you know that. See the spot under the square? That square is the crawl space between this ceiling and the floor of the auditorium. That square has always been there, but what is that? Somebody put a hole beneath where the plastic is.
Okay, we need to wrap it up.
Yep, off we
So,
go.
as much as I could stay here, honest to God, forever, I go up this way, right?
Yes, you do.
Oh, wow. Chris, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I wonder if this settle was part of the
I
original
believe so.
sitting area. It certainly looks appropriate for this space. Yeah. This,
Oh, you got to see
this you want
something.
to keep.
I know we're trying to get out of here. You got to see this. This is the men's lounge.
That can become very unpopular very quickly in these scenarios because I'm never ready to leave. Not
Uh,
as long as there's nothing to see.
I've seen the overhead tank toilet, but I've never seen a circular tank.
I've never seen one quite like that.
Right? And then at your back is graffiti. I believe it says out of order 1948 on the wall at your back there, which is too cool.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome.
Oh,
You
yes,
put a little
that's
thin
really
ceiling in
cool.
here.
Yeah, you know, I think all of the tin ceilings on this level of the building are original color. I think, in fact, everything down here is original color. Much of the ballroom spaces, they didn't need to fix up. This was just a dance band.
Hands, Laura. Look at the hands on the toilet seat. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
We have a bathtub that is oak
With the-
rims and copper,
Oh, that's really good in my cabin.
and so we're always looking for things to go with our beautiful, it's an 1890s bathtub.
Oh, wow.
It's extraordinary.
1885. Basically tried to put together an 1885 bathroom in our cabin.
Oh, that's very cool.
go.
That sink? Yeah, I knew that,
Pine, when I saw the mortise tenon.
oh yeah, tell me about this table, what is this thing? What you were just pointing at?
Well, this is the mortise tenon, so this cross stretcher, or cross apron, actually comes through this piece of wood, through a square hole.
Yeah.
And then a square hole is made in that and it's pinned. So this is all built without nails. The construction is all built from interlocking pieces held in place with these pins. Very strong, and it had become really popularized in the arts and crafts period, the arts and crafts movement. When after the industrial age, they went back to craft guilds, building in more traditional manners and building things of great quality, but little decoration, and the decoration is like this forms follows function kind of ideology, where the decoration and beauty of the piece is literally how it's built, put together.
Yeah.
And then
It's a really spectacular
is
piece.
it reasonable to think, Greg, that they added the top on? Because this definitely has nails in it and the screws.
Yeah,
So maybe someone added this to this kind of, even that I can see the oak. This is a arts and crafts period oak.
Yeah, but I'm not
See
sure
that?
if that's original slab on the table.
See that? I'm not sure if you saw that
I did
wood
see the
showing
oak.
through. Yeah.
I just can't tell if it's one piece or if it's, it looks like it might be 3 logs, but this may not be hardwood here. This may be,
So maybe not quarter sawn oak.
well, I don't know.
Isn't that what they would have used?
The grain appears to line up with the top, yeah.
It does.
So they're really really fond of quarter sawn white oak, and sometimes built in mahogany too, some of them. But very strong wood, quarter sawn, and then as a finish, they also used, instead of using modern finishes, they would vapor steam the wood with ammonia or other chemicals to change the chemical composition of the grain and color it that way and then do a wax finish on it. And this looks like it might be a thinning, but I tell you, I should like to get a little stripper after this and
Right?
see what's under there.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Very, very careful.
amazing. Thank you.
Ideally, you wouldn't harm that. You try not to harm that original finish under there. It's
Right.
very sensitive.
I don't know if the others saw this picture, but you gotta. That's the one right there.